Hello everyone! Today we're going to be learning on how to get infinite water. Now, technically you can't make it. I mean, there's ways, but there's a couple of different ways on how to get infinite water, and this is probably the most difficult way, but the most convenient way that I'm about to show you here. So, infinite pools of water only spawn with the map, so like newly generated areas, whether that be in the very beginning or when you go and load new chunks. Most of the water that spawns will be an infinite source. Now, I want to emphasize most, because not all pools of water will be infinite. So here's an example of one source of water that is infinite and one source of water that is not. And there's a very easy way to check if your source of water is infinite. But before I show you that, I'm going to show you the proof, and that is that it does not matter whether you use 1 jar or 500 jars. And it's very easy to show you this. So we'll just toss down a pool of water right there. So if you use 1 jar, you'll see that it still takes a chunk of water. And the same goes if you use 500. Now it looks like it took more, but it actually didn't. If I was to use 1 jar there, it would have taken up 2. As far as I know anyways. That's how it's pretty much always been. So yeah, that's just proving the theory that 1 jar or 500 jars does not matter. So here's how you check whether or not your water is infinite or not. So I normally just put a bunch of 1 glass jar because it's super easy to make them, or you could just have them lying around really, and all you do is aim at 1 square. It's easier just to aim at 1 square and keep filling your glass jars. Apparently this pool started as an infinite source of water, which is very interesting because most of the games that I play, this tiny little pool here does not spawn as infinite. So we're just going to test this a couple times. Apparently I could do this all day and it's infinite. So if you do 2 full toolbars and nothing happens, that's what we're looking for. If nothing happens after filling all of these jars, then most likely your pool of water is infinite. Now, these infinite water pools are very, very fragile. And what I mean by that is they can get destroyed rather easily. If any blocks touching the water or inside the water change, your water will no longer be infinite. So like any of these side blocks here, or any of the blocks inside the water. So for example, let's say I find this safe here, if I can get there, and if I break this safe, which I'm actually going to do just to show you, this water will no longer be infinite. Before I do that though, let's prove to you that it is indeed infinite still. So we just aim at 1 square. We could do this all day. It's never going to go anywhere. And as you can see, nothing happened, which is good. That's what you want if you want to utilize one of these. Oh, by the way, water does slow down zombies now, as far as I can tell. Alrighty. Okay, so we're going to mute the auger, and I'm going to show you that changing any block inside of the water will destroy its infinite capabilities. Now, I'm not too sure actually if damaging a block around or in the water will destroy that, so I'm just going to double check that right now. This is something I've been curious about. No. So it looks like if a block gets damaged, you're okay. However, what happens if we try and fix it? Not the safe, obviously. Just want one. Otherwise, we're going to upgrade the block, and that will destroy the water. But we'll get to that quickly. So yeah, I damaged this block right here. So no, you are safe to repair blocks, but not upgrading, because that would count as a block change. So I hope I emphasize that a lot. If any blocks change that are touching the water or inside the water, it will no longer be infinite. Basically what I mean by that is if a block gets destroyed, if a block gets upgraded, if any moving NPC dies in the water, that counts as a block change because their body becomes, it's called a Gore block. And that includes dogs as well. Even though they don't really change into a Gore block anymore, they still count as a block change. As I found out in one of my single player worlds, I actually had to move my base because of it, because the only reason I chose this place was for the pool. So, and also that counts for like deer, pigs, bears, obviously. So like anything, not a single block can change inside your water if you want to keep it. So there we go, we just destroyed that safe. Yeah, we wanted to loot it, that's why we did it. Cool, we got a bunch of cool stuff, but guess what? This water is no longer infinite. And here I'll show you how you'll know when your water is no longer infinite. Alright, so the thing we're looking for is if the water either disappears from the area that you're gathering water from, or if the water does what I like to call a blink. It'll basically not be there for a split second and then water will come back. Basically what that means is some of the water got taken out and the other water is trying to fill it up. But it's not like Minecraft. This water doesn't infinitely regenerate itself. Over time, this pool will eventually disappear. So we're looking for, with this size of a pool, usually it does a blink. Unless they changed it. It looks like it's still okay. I would not chance it though. I really wouldn't. If you're trying to build a base around an infinite water source, I would not destroy that safe. Or anything else around the water. It looks like though it's okay. I don't understand why it's not doing it. As soon as I try and show the method to my madness, it doesn't want to work. That's really bizarre. Honestly, I would err on the side of caution though, and just don't do it. There's plenty of safes elsewhere. If you plan on keeping that water and there's a juicy safe just sitting there, don't do it. I don't get it. I don't know. It never happens like this. Like even an arrow going in the water usually destroys it for me, so I'm like super cautious when it comes to this. Well, we went through like 3 stacks. Huh. Apparently the game's trying to make it look like I don't know what I'm talking about. But, whatever. Let's go the other route then. Oh, I tossed it all the way. There we go. Alright, so if any block changes, that should destroy the water. Oh my goodness. For real? I don't know what's going on. This world's broken. What the heck? Come on. The one time I'm trying not to have infinite water, and it's just like, no, no, we're staying. This is to stay. I don't know what's going on. This never happens. Maybe it's because I'm in a cheat mode world. I don't know. Alrighty then. Don't take this video and think that, you know, you can go ahead and upgrade your pool and everything will be alright. That's not how it works usually. Most of the time your water gets murked if you try and do stuff like that. I don't get it. Unless the physics of... There we go. There. You seen it. The water disappeared. It just, for whatever reason, decided not to do it for quite some time. It usually doesn't happen like that. Usually it does the blink. Like with a pool this size, it'll just blink. But yeah. So you just keep doing it like this. And as you can see, this water is no longer infinite. So, as a little showcase, you know, that includes animals dying in your pool. Because they now count as a Gore block when they're dead. Even if he just randomly disappears and doesn't leave a corpse, it'll still destroy your water. Oh, and also, once your infinite water source is destroyed, there is absolutely no way to get it back, ever. Even in a cheat mode world or a regular game, there's no way to get it back. So if you plan on keeping it, be extremely cautious and do everything in your power to make sure that not a single block touching that water ever changes. What I usually do is I try and mine out underneath it, so... Also, that includes putting stuff in the water. If you were to like... Oh, I can't even put this here. Oh, it's because of the bear. Yeah, so if you were like to put a frame in here, that would destroy it. Leave it the way it is and try not to do anything. So going back to what I was saying, normally if I'm trying to keep a source of water inside my base, I'll figure out how tall it is inside the water, and also you got to account for the bottom block as well. So this water source is 2 blocks high from the inside, and we also have 1 block for the floor. So how I would do something like this is completely separate this water from the outside world in some way. There are easier water sources than this. Obviously, if this one stays, then this would be ideal because it's super small and it'll be really easy to keep it there. But if you're dealing with something larger like this, it's going to take quite a bit more time. So, you know, you could... I'm not gonna actually do it, but you can dig down like 3 blocks, and then underneath you're going to want to support it as much as possible. The structural integrity is better explained on other videos which I've covered in the past. A few of the numbers have changed, but mostly it's Actually, I don't know if it's mostly still the same. Let's see if we can find reinforced concrete. I'm curious about that. There we go. Wow. Yeah, it has changed quite a bit. So yeah, since you can't see this block in-game, reinforced concrete has a max load of 120 and a mass of 10, which means you can support 12 of itself from one wall. So if you had 2 walls, it would be able to support up to 24 of itself, but you couldn't have anything else on the floor above because everything has a mass. So essentially you could have a 20 by 20 base standing with reinforced concrete without any supports. But that all depends on what you have going on above that concrete. If you have a lot of mass going on, you're going to want to put supports. So anyways, that's a whole another video. If you want me to do a revisit on structural integrity, I'd be more than happy to do that. I have a bit more knowledge about how it works, and it's rather simple, to be honest, but it looks very complicated. And it can get very complicated very fast. But yeah, so essentially if you had this on your base, you could probably get away with just using this as a support wall. Since the water does not go any higher than this, you can build here and not have to worry about destroying your infinite water. The only thing I want to caution though is don't... So you see the water's half in a block here. Let's just use this. So you see the water's halfway inside a block. If you put a block up here, that's right beside the water. That counts as a block change. So you're going to want to put your blocks 1 block higher than the water. That's a really bad example. Let's try that again. So the water's there. This is the touching block. That would be an ideal spot if you're going to cap it off. Now you obviously you're gonna want to have access to this water, so make sure to put in a door or something while you're trying to protect this. So yeah, if you're gonna build underneath, you know, you would be okay having a support like even way out here, right? As long as this was a full wall, and if this was a full wall, that would be okay without any other supports underneath it. Maybe not. There's a lot of concrete there. 3 blocks. You'd probably want to put a wall like here, or a support or something. But yeah, anyways, that's a whole lot of convoluted math, and we're not going to get into that. I just wanted to show this really quickly, and that's pretty much it. Now, this is the more difficult way to keep infinite water inside your base, but it is the most convenient, and once it's done, there's no more extra work. All you gotta do is grab your jars, fill it up, you're done. That's it. So yeah, I hope this helped you out, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and if it did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more awesome tutorials and whatever else may come this way on the channel. So I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye.